Hey guys, you live in Massachusetts, you want to start a home-based food business but not sure exactly where to get started? This video will show you how. Hey guys, it's Damien from Marketing Food Online. I hope you guys are having another great day today. This video is going to talk about home-based food businesses in Massachusetts. I'm actually trying to do a series little by little. I've got a lot of requests from different people in different states discussing the types of food businesses that you can establish at home and then grow them into a commercial business. So this one is going to be in particular about Massachusetts, and it's actually a great state to start a home-based food business in because there is no limit on the sales, number one, which is huge. If you're starting a food business from home, you of course have to keep track of those sales because that's going to be considered part of your business. But the biggest part of that is the fact that you do not have a sales limit and you can sell as much as you possibly can. So if you're looking to do something like on the weekends, maybe pick up some extra money or start part-time and pursue that goal or that dream of having a food business, but starting small locally. And then again, like I've always talked about throughout my videos, growing them into something bigger, okay? So the cool thing about Massachusetts is that home-based food businesses are considered to be just as like their commercial counterparts, commercial kitchens in Massachusetts. So to get it up and running, I don't want to say it's difficult at first, but you do have a little bit more of a rigorous application process, and there's a couple of permits, and there's a couple of courses and such that you have to take, and I'll discuss that a little bit in here in the video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recap some of the overall basic information about that, and then in the description I will put some links that'll take you to the state of Massachusetts website, and it'll give you much more in-depth, detailed information about their home food business, okay? And then what's required. And the list, by the way, of what you can produce is absolutely huge as well. And now keep in mind, just like I always state in these videos, cottage home-based food businesses cannot prepare potentially hazardous foods. They cannot be time or temperature sensitive. So anything with like raw meats, cheeses, or dairies and things that cheesecakes and those types of things that have to be kept at a certain temperature, those are always eliminated. They're prohibited in a home-based business unless you have a commercial license in a licensed kitchen, okay? So let me just get right down to it, and I can tell you the different places that you can sell, the types of foods that you can produce, and the ability to market those as well. Now, with any home-based food business, I highly recommend you right off the bat, of course, incorporate yourself as a business. If you're doing this on the side as a hobby or something, that sounds great, but for liability purposes, I recommend that you definitely protect yourself. Get yourself incorporated. It doesn't cost much, a couple $100, and then get yourself some food producers insurance. There's actually a program too as well that I'll put in the description. It's the FLIP program. I'll put a link to their website, and you can check it out because they actually issue food insurance policies for home-based food businesses, which is fantastic. There's a lot of insurance companies that don't really necessarily insure home-based food businesses for liability purposes and such. But once you've got yourself incorporated, get yourself some insurance to protect your private property and protect your business, you should be good up and running. Now, each state, of course, has a variety of different permits and licenses. Keep that in mind. It kind of varies by state. Some of them require like a permit class that you take for food safety, some for food sanitation to make sure that you understand the proper ways to sanitize utensils and machines. So a lot of times also you're going to have a separate group of materials like blenders and different types of appliances and smallwares and cups and bowls, things that you use for the commercial kitchen that you have to keep separate from your home kitchen, okay? But that's based on each state. And like I said, if you're in that state, I'm going to give you those links, and you simply click on them, and then you go to their site. It will explain to much more detail, okay? All right, so what can you sell? What can I make? You know, that's the biggest question that everybody has when you start a home-based business. What kind of food products can I make? The list is actually quite extensive. Everywhere from the types of candies, you could do frostings, you can do baked candies if you do candies that are in the oven, okay? If you're doing some type of other candies that are hard candies like rock candy or flavored sugar candies and such, those are fine. Chocolates and fudge is fine. Cotton candy, okay? And again, all of these types of products sell ridiculously well at fairs, festivals, and farmers markets, and you've got so many varieties to choose from. And you know what? As a matter of fact, what I'll do is there's a link I'll put on here for the website that you can check specifically in Massachusetts, and they will give you, there's a list there that'll show you all the fairs and festivals that are on that site, and you can pick out which one is close to you, so that way it helps you narrow down where you can sell your product. Okay, so candies, of course. Okay, can you do breads and muffins? Yes. Cookies and muffins, rolls, tortillas and biscuits and cakes, bagels, brownies and donuts and scones, and the list kind of just goes on and on. Keep in mind that you could take these different items and then you could create a variety of flavors for these types of products, okay? So if it says muffins, my gosh, I mean, you can make literally an infinite amount of muffins, okay? And you can go to events if there are art festivals, fairs, music festivals, even local college events or local high school basketball games, all these different sporting events, okay? Set yourself up a booth. You can offer even coffee and muffins and donuts and such, or whatever you're baking and you bring to the event. You can add a huge variety of products and make a lot of money on the side as a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, weekend type of thing, or even midweek. During the summer, of course, as you know, there's a lot more, spring and summer, there's a lot more festivals going on. So go down, let me take a look at this. Now, you can actually do, this was interesting. A lot of states don't allow you to do that, but if you want to create a line of coffee beans and you want to sell them as well locally, if you're into roasting coffees, or maybe that's your niche, or creating some type of a coffee business, you're allowed to do that from home, okay? And there's a lot of other ones such as spices and herbs and seasoning mixes, which have a huge application for dips. People put them on breads. You would add them, obviously, to any type of food. Herbs and teas, even if you're into the tea business and you want to sell them locally, those are great, especially if you go to foodie festivals or foodie events where there's a lot of food vendors offering teas and unique flavored teas, and you make them locally in small batches. That's a huge business. So, and also the other thing is there's a big margin in teas. When it comes to tea leaves, even if you are getting them in bulk and breaking them down, or mixing flavors or mixing tea leaves and then reselling them that way, there is a huge margin in those because they are so inexpensive when you get them in bulk. So let me take a look here. Now, really quick, I'll go over a couple of the limitations, things that you cannot do or should not do in a home-based kitchen. You're not allowed to use like commercially sized equipment, those large mixing drums or big ovens that are commercial ovens, baking ovens that need additional hoods for that heat exhaust, and anything that you see in a commercial setting. Like if you go to a supermarket and you see these gigantic ovens, these huge mixers, those types of things are always not permitted obviously in a home setting. So you have to get yourself, if you don't have it, you have to get yourself the type of equipment, whatever the type of food product that you're making, get that type of equipment that is allowed in a home. Now, they actually have a lot of equipment and a lot of spoons and different types of smallwares equipment, blenders and mixers and things that are almost a commercial grade, but it allows you the chance to use it within your home, okay? Because when they do come in, they want to inspect, they take a look. You don't want to have a 500-pound mixer in the middle of your kitchen because they're just not going to allow that to happen. Plus, you may not have the room. So the other thing you want to keep in mind is, I highly recommend this. Some states require it, but I recommend that you keep all of the equipment that you're using for a home-based business separate. If you have a kitchen that you're preparing your family's food in, you want to keep all that equipment separate, okay? And again, you can start small. You don't need to have 1,000 pieces of equipment. But if you have a certain blender, what's great is KitchenAid. KitchenAid blenders are a fantastic, almost commercial-grade blender that you can keep in your home. And if you have baking pans, baking pots, bowls for mixing, any type of utensils, keep all that stuff separate. It's just going to be an issue of sanitation and sanitize, keeping them in a separate part of the kitchen itself and not using them for day-to-day stuff for your family, okay? Now, a lot of times, now you can also, one thing you got to keep in mind, any type of home-based business, I definitely recommend that you have a website, okay? A lot of states allow you to sell through the website, but you have to personally either deliver it or have the customer come pick it up. But you have to be the one to interact with the customer to give them the product. But having a website, at least for informative purposes, is what I highly recommend, okay? Because like I mentioned in several of my videos before, once you have that website established and you have a home-based business, then you go into a commercial setting, you've already got that website up and running. All you got to do then is start to turn it into an e-commerce where you can start selling through the internet and then shipping to other states or other countries or whatever you want to do, okay? But when you start off from scratch and you're at home, it's great because if you go to a fair and festival and you have a lot of customers coming through your booth and you're buying a lot of stuff and they're like, hey, do you have a website? I want to learn more about you. You can give them a business card or give them a coupon that has your website on it. They go to it and they can see that you are a legitimate business. It gives you just more authority, and it gives you more kind of a professionalism about your business because you have that site, okay? Even if it's just for information purposes and you don't sell anything on it. So get that up and running and started. And of course, the other thing, this is kind of a common sense. Working from home, if you have pets or you have animals, you want to keep them out of the kitchen during your commercial process. If you're producing products for customers or you're making stuff to take to fairs and festivals, don't allow the pets in that area at the time, because hair and all kinds of dander and all that stuff can get into food, and you obviously don't want that to happen. So now, one thing about Massachusetts is, and this is sort of throughout every state, but it's not in every state. Massachusetts, if you're running off of a private well, or if you have a well within your property that you're pulling water from for your day-to-day uses, they'll have you, there's a fee for that, but they have to test the water there just to make sure that it's up to par and it's clean enough for you to be using for producing food product that's going to be sent to the public, okay? If you're dealing with food production that's going to another person outside of your family and you're being paid for that, that's obviously a production process. You need to make sure that that water is good to go, okay? So that, as well as any type of septic, if you're not on a city water system and you're on a septic system that you have on your property, that will be tested to make sure that the integrity of that actual septic tank is working properly, because they don't want it to. You have to understand, when you start producing more and more food products, you'll have grease and butter and things like that, oils and stuff that will, and even additional food that will go down into your septic tank. And that has to be broken down. Otherwise, that could cause backup and then this huge problem with the environment and all that stuff. You don't want to get into that. So all in all, there is a lot of really great, easy to make products from home. Now, there's just a couple of different permits that you will need, some food training and some sanitation courses that you may have to take as well. So what I'll do is put the rest of those links down below. This kind of gives you a real basic recap of what you can and can't do in the state of Massachusetts. Check out their site. If you have any other questions or something, hey, let me know down below, and I can hop on that and give you an answer as soon as I can. So if this helps you out, please do give me a big thumbs up. I appreciate you guys taking time to watch. And as always, if you know anybody outside of yourself, maybe a family member or a friend that wants to get into the food business, let them know about my channel. I always appreciate additional subscribers. And thank you, guys.